Elementary for leading the Pledge of Allegiance at the September 20th, 2017 school board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. There's that. We also want to give you a flag that you can put on your desk, and most importantly, a pizza at Domino's. So you get that on. So there you are. You're welcome. Good.
I love pizza.
Tonight, the board is honoring GE Transportation as this month's community partner. GE has sponsored a number of facelift projects at many of our schools over the past few years, including Wayne, Wilson, Edison, and Lincoln. These projects have brought hundreds of volunteers into our schools to paint walls, fix furniture, and prepare the buildings for students during the summer months. In 2016, GE agreed to serve as a corporate partner for Edison Elementary as part of the Community Schools Pilot Project that our district began with the United Way of Erie County. In that role, GE has sent volunteers in Edison to do STEM-related activities with the students and supported the community schools model. We are grateful for the many years of partnership between our district and GE, and would like to recognize them for their support and service to our students. I'd like to ask Mr. Bob Frost, GE's volunteer leader, to come to the stage and accept this token of our appreciation.
Thanks for all you do.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
We're really joyful.
Hey, Frank, you ready for the flood?
What high tops? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? The flood. My
Your
shorts?
pants won't get wet, yeah.
Because I'm wearing shorts. Guys are nuts.
Announcement of executive sessions. I'd like to announce that the board met an executive session on Monday, July 24th, 2017 in Conference Room 3 at the James E. Barker Leadership Center, 148 West 21st Street, from 12:48 p.m. to 1:11 p.m. regarding negotiations. Wednesday, September 6, 2017 in the Conference Room 3 at the Dr. James E. Barker Leadership Center, 148 West 21st Street, from 6:44 p.m. to 7:07 p.m. regarding negotiations and legal matters. The board also met this evening, Wednesday, September 20th, 2017, in the library at East Middle School from 5:23 to 5:38 p.m. regarding negotiations, personal, and legal matters. We'll move on to the report of the superintendent.
Mr. President,
Yes.
if I could refer you back to item 1.05.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Thank you. I don't know how I missed that. Presentation by Grover Cleveland Elementary School Parent Teacher Student Association represented by Michelle Kamirski and Becky Bogle. I've seen that before too.
Can you hear me?
There you go.
Oh, there I am. Hi. Thank you for having us participate in this evening's meeting. My name is Michelle Komisarski. I currently am a member of the Grover Cleveland PTSA. Last year, I had the pleasure of being the president of this fine organization. I originally requested to speak with you this evening to share with you some of the great happenings that occurred within our organization over the past year. With all of the strife that has unfortunately defined our district during recent times, I thought it beneficial to bring forth some positivity. The Grover Cleveland PTSA over the years has been evolving into an advocacy-driven organization with strong leaders who are mindful of the needs of the children and work hard to set them up for success, while planning for some fun along the way. This evolution led to an award-winning 2016-17 school year. I'd like to give you a bit of background as to what we did to deserve the many honors and awards we received. This list is by no means all-inclusive, but I do feel these are some of the 16-17 highlights. We put on several free or highly affordable family-centered events. We worked to advocate for our students and actively kept ourselves aware of the district's situation while making ourselves a vessel for passing along informed knowledge to the community. Many of our devoted parents were also active community participants in the district planning process. We worked hard to move away from traditional fundraising models, and instead we set our sights on a major fundraising event that involved the full community. We are happy to report our efforts paid off, and we raised enough funds for setting up an outdoor learning area for our students, which we are actively setting up with the school administration this year. We were able to provide hardcover books to every student during the Christmas season, as well as provide hardcover books to all the incoming and outgoing kindergartners. We also expanded our multicultural outreach and put on an award-winning multicultural night. We were pleased to have State Representative Dan Laughlin attend this event and happy to display the motivation and potential that lies within our school. We also expanded our uniform giveaway last year to including free back-to-school haircuts and reached out past our own Grover family and opened this event to the entire district. Due to accomplishments like these, our group was afforded the following honors. We won the PTA Family Engagement Grant for our multicultural event. This grant included $500 in cash, along with a prize package worth approximately $400 that will help to offset training costs at this year's state PTA convention. We won the 2017 Champions for Children Award. This too is a PA state level award directed at acknowledging advocacy efforts. And we are pleased to say this is our second year in a row for winning this award. This award also comes with a prize package worth approximately $400. We were featured as Advocate of the Month in the National PTA's newsletter in July of 2016. We received a certificate from National PTA recognizing us for our efforts in child advocacy in January of 2017. We submitted to speak at the National PTA Conference held in Las Vegas during June of 2017. Kelly Heberly and I were accepted to speak alongside Mary Pat King, Director of Education and Leadership for the National PTA. This work led to Mrs. King realizing the many things that we do to achieve cultural diversity within our group. She then asked us to participate in a cultural diversity webinar, which streamed live in May of 2017, and continues to be a part of the National PTA Training Library. This further turned into a second speaking engagement at the convention. While it was an honor to be asked to speak during two distinct and separate training sessions, we felt very blessed to have the opportunity to tell our story of our state educational funding issues at the national level. We were one of 5 recipients from around the country that received a flash funding award from GoFundMe, which we later learned was due to the state level PTA leaders recommending our group as a potential recipient. This came with a $1,000 cash prize. And last but certainly not least, we won the National Parent Group of the Year Award from PTO Today. This is a parent-teacher organization magazine that has a circulation of over 80,000. Our entry was placed very last minute, as in 3 minutes before the deadline. I like to put things off. I was merely hopeful we would get one of the honorable mention awards, but ultimately we were blessed and they chose us to win the National Parent Group of the Year Award, which came with a full story spread in the September issue and a $3,000 cash prize. We are very proud of this honor, and I'd like to share with you a copy of the magazine at this time.
Thank you so much.
Our honors this year brought us prizes worth approximately $5,300. We hope this is a testament to the power of involved parents, grandparents, students, teachers, and administration working together. As they say, money isn't everything, but I think everybody in the room can attest to it sure does help. We have big plans for the upcoming year. We are excited about the many fresh faces that have joined our organization. We are also welcoming in a new board that has new and exciting outlook for this coming school year. And with that, I'd like to hand the mic over to Becky Bogle, our current president.
Thank you.
Hello. As Michelle said, we're a very active group with our PTA. We're not just comprised of just parents, but we have grandparents, neighbors, businesses, teachers, and concerned citizens as well. Our goals this year are to continue with our advocacy, starting actually with tomorrow night at Chestnut Hill. Our state PTA is bringing in some national trainers to help us learn how to advocate further for not only just our children, but just in general. So that's training is starting tomorrow night. We have implemented, a couple of the new things that we have implemented is an incentive program. In order to promote safety around the building, we have been working with Sergeant Tuznick with the Erie City Police, and he's part of the crossing guard program, that if there's a person who's interested in becoming a crossing guard in our area, we will provide and reimburse up to $50 for the necessary background checks that they need to go through. Because our safety initiative is going well. We've also been in contact with and had a meeting with the city traffic engineer to look at promoting safety around our building. And hopefully, with the streets surrounding it, with the increased safety, we will be able to promote walking and biking to school as part of a new wellness initiative. We've already started by not having any sodas at our events. So anytime you come to our events, there is no sodas being served. It's either water or hugs for the kids. So that's part of our wellness initiative. We also plan with all of our fundraising that has been going on and all of our awards, a lot of that money is going towards our outdoor classroom. We are going to look at initially just more picnic tables out there so students have a place to sit and they can use the outdoor classroom. And then actually I just received an email today that we are going to be receiving 2 new LEAP pads for our school. We're going to be donating those to the AR teacher at our school, Mr. Owens, who was so excited. He goes, I was actually going to look at buying those with my own money. And I said, well, now you don't have to. So we are also looking forward to our second multicultural night, and that'll be expanded as well. We had 13 countries and organizations represented last year, so we hope to expand that again this year. Our other events, such as movie nights, we just had a movie night, Santa Shop, Spirit Night, which Monday is our first Spirit Night, so please come to Blaze Pizza between 5 and 7 p.m. on Monday night. We're doing a Spirit Night there. We would love to see all of your faces and help us raise some money. We have a backpack bingo and our end of the year carnival. All these events we try to promote family togetherness, and we are able to do this for little to no cost to our families and the surrounding community. We also do all of this without relying on student fundraising. This is our second year of not having to do any student fundraising, sending our students out to raise funds in the community themselves. This is all work that we've decided to take on as an organization. So what we do rely on is a lot of involvement and communication with our members of the PTA, with our fantastic administration, Ms. Fiorelli, and all of the teachers at our school. And they do work miracles every day, and we do anything we can to support them. I'm actually putting out a standing open invitation to all of you and the administration that you may attend one of our meetings. We would love to have you there. Our next one is October 4th at 6 p.m. at the Grover Cleveland Library. If that doesn't conflict with your schedules, we would love to have you come to one of our meetings and see in detail everything that we are doing, because we do go over everything. Our Spirit Nights, all of these events are why we are nationally recognized, and we appreciate the awards and notoriety. The best feeling for us is what we're able to do for the kids, not only at Grover Cleveland, but for the entire district and the entire community. And we look forward to continuing to serve all of the children of Grover Cleveland and the district for years to come. So thank you.
Thank you.
If I can say something real quick. Becky, I really appreciate what you're doing. Certainly, Michelle and Kelly as well, the 3 sitting presidents there that have been doing an awful lot. And I say that because my son Evan has been there for quite a bit of time, and Dr. Battles, his children have all benefited from their hard work. I know I was involved with them to a small part. What I think she failed to mention is, and how they really pick up the slack is, I know whether you still do that or not, they allotted $2,000 a year, I think that's what it was, give or take, to the library. We weren't providing enough books as a school district, so they stepped up to the plate for that, so that was a big deal. And the other thing, I see Mrs. Fiorelli is here. They have such a committed staff there as well. I've been involved with a number of PTAs in a number of different schools, but that is one where you can see the PTA and the administration really work hand in hand together. They've always had great representation from Mrs. Fiorelli, always showed up at the meetings that I was at with the student rep, or sorry, the teacher rep. It was Mr. Owens there for a long time, and they've always changed that around. They've done a wonderful job there. Just look at the campus there and everything they've done. At one point, even before Kelly was the president, they didn't even have a library in that school. So they have the institutional history of the PTA picking up our slack. They didn't have a library, so they raised enough funds to actually have the library created. I know maybe you know the details on that, and fund all the books. They've done a wonderful job there for years, so I really appreciate all you've done, and I look forward to that continuing with Becky and going on forward. Thank you.
Mr. President?
Yeah.
I have a question. How strong are you? How many people belong to the PTA? The reason I ask that is that when I was actively working for the school district, one of the jobs they tried to give me was to get middle school PTAs built up. And I usually get 3 or 4 people, and that was it. This sounds exciting.
Currently, at this time, we have 109
Wow.
members. Last year, our total membership was 125, so we're well on our way to, our goal is 200 this year.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and I can understand, we started off with being an involved PTA in the elementary schools, and I think that has continued into the middle schools, and I know that their enrollment and membership in the PTAs have increased in the middle schools just because we are getting parents involved and more involved, and that's going to continue.
Thank you again.
Yes, thank you.
John.
Whatever you've been doing there, we ought to find a way to bottle it, because we all know that everyone's agrees that parental involvement is the key, and no one knows how to generate it or make it happen on its own. But there seems to be an ongoing culture and a momentum there that is not forced, and is not, it just seems to regenerate itself among you people. There's something good going on there, and it is, as Mr. Brzezinski said, uplifting and encouraging to know. We can't take the credit for it. You know, as candidates, we've been out there. I remember being with Angela a couple of years ago, and people said, how important is parental involvement, and what will you do about it? Well, we can't pass a resolution or do anything to make it happen if it's not, if something isn't there, and something is there. So it is no small matter, and we all applaud you.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
Good evening. Believe it or not, we're a little over 3 weeks into the school year, and the buildings are settling into their new routines. As reported tonight at the committee of the whole meeting, we believe that with the adjustments that EMTA has made today on some of our bus runs, that most of our transportation issues that we experienced at the beginning of the school year have been addressed, except for maybe a few buses that are running late at this point. I'd just like to take a minute and thank EMTA for their assistance through this process. Since the beginning of the school year, they've made numerous route adjustments over the last few weeks, and they've really alleviated some of the crowded buses and reduced the run times. Now that the routes have been adjusted, our main goal as far as transportation goes is to get the walking routes, the walking distance for elementary schools below 1.5 miles, and we're hoping to do that as soon as possible. With the reconfiguration behind us, one of the big administrative goals this year is increasing in student engagement. And with that in mind, we are offering several new opportunities this year for our students, starting with the Maritime Academy. Right now, we're working with Rich Eisenberg from the Bayfront Maritime Center to develop a Maritime Magnet Program starting next school year. And to build awareness for with our students, all our 8th graders will be touring the Maritime Museum over the next 2 weeks and participating in a day sail on the Brig Niagara. So that's great news. At the end of September, Gannon is bringing the author of the book, Dear Marcus, A Letter to the Man Who Shot Me by Jerry McGill, to speak to their freshmen. They've generously donated 80 of those books to our Credit Recovery Academy and have invited those students to participate in that programming at the end of September. Students are currently at the Recovery Academy working on that book. They're working through that book as part of their literature, so they're prepared for the presentation. And on October 4th, 2 of the students from the book and movie Freedom Writers are coming to Erie to meet with our middle school students. Our students are currently reading excerpts from the book and learning about those individuals before they come. Freedom Writers will also be doing a public presentation at Erie High on October 4th at 5:45. And lastly, Bea Habursky has been working over the last couple months to bring in the Ice House program, and I'm pleased to announce that she was able to obtain a $43,000 grant from the United Way to implement that this coming school year. Bea, could you talk a little bit about the program?
Sure. So the Ice House program is from the Innovation Collaborative, and it's been serving Erie County and the culture of hopefulness, problem solving, collaboration, and entrepreneurial thinking and acting. So in order to sustain that change in our culture and in Erie, we have to engage and shift the mindset of the population. So one of the things that we've been working on with the United Way is to be able to bring that to our 7th grade. And so all of our 7th graders will have an opportunity in their social studies class to have, with their social studies teacher, an opportunity to do that curriculum. So on October 9th, 10th, and 11th, Beth Zimmer through the Innovation Collaboration will be coming and bringing in the team to train our teachers and our administrators on that. And in the spring, our students will have an opportunity to have the book and to learn 7 life skills on how to be an entrepreneur. And it's really interesting because it's unlikely entrepreneurs, but it's all in their mindset. And so that's the goal of this program in particular.
Thanks. That concludes my report.
I move we accept the report of the superintendent.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Harkins, second by Mr. Brzezinski. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Hearing of citizens, persons desiring to speak for 5 minutes must submit their request in writing to the Secretary's office at least 1 week prior to the board meeting. All others may speak for 3 minutes. Our first 5-minute speaker is Mr. William McDonald of Erie, speaking to the topic of Erie School District business. Mr. McDonald.
Evening, board. Haven't been down here for a while. Like I told you when I was down here the last time, I'm more interested in the kids and their parents. If you really love your kids, you're going to keep an eye on them. I had 2 going to school. I stayed pretty close to them all the way through till they graduated. One disappointed me, the other one jumped up and got married. Yeah, but as long as they never went to jail or anything, had no problems with the law while I was raising them. Even though they don't want you to chastise, I'm going to chastise mine because I'm the one working for them. Y'all ain't working for them. Police ain't working for them. I'm working for them. So I chastise them. If you don't chastise them, they'll chastise you. Believe me, I've seen it happen time and time again. I can't understand why the parents have no really interest in their kids. They should want to know what what they're doing, when you come down here, somebody's gonna tell them something, or they're gonna look at you and see how you got them going on in school. I stayed at school to see about mine, and I didn't think mine was no better than nobody else's, but I loved them. It's more than just getting them here. You got to raise them. And this time and day, babies are raising babies. So there's something going on wrong somewhere. I know when I was coming up, my mother didn't play. She didn't play. That old woman got a hold to you, she had you. And when she turned you loose, you didn't forget it. I think about that. I used to think she hated me, but she loved me. She didn't want me to get in no trouble. And I still don't like to see kids getting in trouble. But I don't know. If you don't act like you love them, they're going to get in trouble because you're neglecting them. This room should be full of people down here concerned about their kids. Want to know, what are you doing for them? You know, we pay the highest taxes I know of in the state, school taxes. We should really get more for our dollar. But we seem to have more problems about that dollar than anybody. Have they straightened the budget out yet, Mr. President?
No.
I can't hear you.
No.
What's the problem? What is the problem? They got the money down there. I guess they're trying to figure out how they could slide a little bit in their pockets. Well, a thief is a thief. Why can't they straighten that out? Why this got to... This affects our kids. And you should take more steam into it and see what's going on. You're the superintendent, aren't you?
Yes.
Then, hey, I want to see you do your job. Stay on down there on them. You scared of them?
Not at all.
Well, you shouldn't be, because if you're afraid of them, you got the wrong job. We got the wrong man in your place, in the place you're in.
Mr. Chairman, I don't think we need to hear this kind of stuff. We're here to listen to you, not to have you attack us.
I can't hear you.
Your time's probably up. I'm just suggesting that nobody's benefiting from you challenging us.
I'm not challenging nobody. I asked a question. I asked a question.
You're lucky the clock's not running.
Is my time up?
As far as I'm concerned.
If I can't ask questions, then what good does it do me to come up here? Because when I want to, see, I don't know what's going on. And when I'm talking, I'm not disrespecting nobody. I will ask the question. I will ask the hard question. Because it don't make me no different. I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And I don't like nobody interrupting me when I'm preaching.
Our second speaker be Mr. William Samick, Erie, speaking to the topics of high school security, acquiring bus passes, and scheduled meetings with teachers.
Okay. Well, I may be preaching to choir, but unfortunately, a lot of times when I preach to choir, nobody ever listens to me anyway, so it doesn't make any difference. Basically, the biggest gripes I got is that when my daughter, she started up there at Central Tech or Royal or whatever you want to call it now, they were doing, searches. Well, I asked my daughter, I said, did you have a search done? And she said, yes. I said, well, what did they do? And she said, well, they proceeded to pat me down and stuff. And I said, really? I said, was it a female officer? She said, no, it was a male officer. Well, I said, what did they do? And she said, well, it says first they wanted that wand down my back, and she said it went off. And, and she told the officer, say, hey, it's got staples in the back. Well, the officer acted like he didn't care anyways. But I went and I talked to Officer Vona, and he talked to my daughter, and things got straightened out. And I asked my daughter, I says, have they done any more searches on anybody? She said, no. She said they just did like first or second week when school started. She says already one fight broke out already at the school. And I says, well, that's great. And I says it'd be a matter of time before somebody comes walking in there, doing something worse than what the regular fist fights and whatnot. But I pretty much, when I talked to Officer Vona about it and stuff, pretty much got it nipped in the butt. The other issue is the overall number of students in the school. Being that you guys had a fire last year, or towards the end of the school year and stuff like that, what kind of fire protection you guys got in that school? Is there sprinkler systems? Why did it, is the system set up where, because you guys had security cameras, and I guess the security camera systems where it was recording, trying to figure out where the fire started and how it started, got burned up with the fire. So, and I noticed that when I was in there, I saw, you guys have all new cameras in there and stuff. But the thing is, if you're going to put a security system in, put the recording system in a secure place where it won't catch on fire. As far as I'm concerned, it should have been done like that in the first place. Now, the other thing is that, with the number of students that is in that school, are you over capacity or are you under capacity in that school district? I really don't know. That's something you guys figured out and decided, okay, yeah, you could be able to fit that many students and stuff like that. Because I know last year I talked about, say, hey, you guys need to set up a high school on one side of town, set up a high school on the other side of town. Well, you guys kind of got it somewhat down pat. You set up one high school in one particular area, but, you may have too many students in that particular area and stuff like that, especially in that school, especially with no air conditioning. The other is that the busing and stuff like that. I know when busing first started up, I know my daughter, she says that they had, the number of students on the bus. And also she said that, they had to wait until they get the bus passes. And I guess the day they get the bus pass, I guess it was a big fiasco on that, stuff like that. But she wound up getting her bus pass. The other is that, the amount of students that are on these buses, she's telling me that these students are actually stand up. When does, my question to EMTA, maybe to you guys, is when does an EMTA bus become a school bus and when does it become a regular passenger bus? Because when it becomes a school bus, there are still cars flying around it, even with the lights flashing or not flashing and stuff like that. And to me, I think that's a danger. So, I mean, something to look forward to, EMTA and stuff like that. Say, hey, you guys are overloading your buses and stuff like that. And figure out what they're gonna, do about that. But other than that, the one other thing I had is that my one daughter, which is over at Deal Elementary right now, she has type 1 diabetes right now. And I asked her, I says, have they been giving you anything for like the snacks? She said no. I asked her, I said, they've been giving you anything for, certain diets for lunch and stuff like that? And she said no. She says, whatever they serve for lunch, that's what they serve for lunch and stuff like that. And I said, well, I says, well, that's something I'm probably gonna have to talk to somebody eventually, down the road and stuff like that, because I really don't want to send her back down to Children's Hospital. I've already been down there once. I don't want to go back down there again. And the other thing is that, with the nurse that you got there, my other question is she an actual certified nurse or is she just a regular nurse? So I'll leave that up to you guys to figure it out. And I mean, if you guys want to contact me, and talk things out about it and stuff like that. But the thing is that, again, I just want to make sure that my daughters, actually, both my daughters at both the high school and over at Deal are safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ms. Lynn Weed, Erie, speaking to the topic of transportation.
Good evening, board members. My concern is my child is considered the walker. I have disabilities, and I have been told by my doctor I'm not supposed to walk. But with the walking I've been having to do for my son, he's in kindergarten, and I don't want to let him out alone in Erie, not knowing what could happen to him. I'm concerned for his safety, and I need to be concerned for my safety because of my health. I'm epileptic, so I've got to be concerned with the weather affects if I'm going to have a seizure or not. And I also have trouble walking. And so I am asking for help and concerns for busing my child. I know you're, I just heard that you want to get the walking down to less than a mile. But I would really like if my son could have a yellow bus. He would love to ride the yellow bus, and I'd be able to get him on and off the bus without concern. Having to walk down to the school and take him to school and walk back home is health issues for me and safety for him. So please help me in this way. I thank you.
Mrs. Weed, if you want to, Randy Persnicki is here today. He's in charge of the transportation. He's in the back of the audience. He'll catch you when you leave the podium. We do have a hardship committee that reviews cases similar to yours, so if you want to get with him, we can get that process moving.
They did give me a bus pass, but that still means I have to walk to get him onto the school bus. So it's still a lot of walking for me to do. I thank you.
Thank you. If there's anybody else that would like to speak for 3 minutes.
Gee, Mr. President, I was hoping somebody would tell us what a great job our faculties are doing. Brand-new high school. Beat everybody but the community college over there at Prep. There's so many good things going on. I guess I'm sending out a plea to give us a little bit of time. The concerns you have, I understand, but those kind of concerns, I think, will get worked out as the days go by. Everybody's working on it very diligently.
Come on up. If you can just write your name on the paper, please.
Here?
Yeah. Where you live. Is there a pen up there?
No, sir. Thank you. Okay. All right. I'm up here for like 2 reasons. Something personal that I'd like to talk to you guys about. But now that I'm here and I'm like listening to everybody, I'd like to introduce myself. My name's Jose Fuentes. I've been a Erie School District employee for since 2010, and I started off as a custodian and worked at all the schools. Now I'm a paraprofessional. I was a bus driver for the school district, and but I'd just like to let you guys know about some things that we have working. You know, some obstacles that we have to work like with the kids and everything. And one of those problems, it's like just sometimes, just like you guys said, these kids these days, they're just different. Their mindset is just so much older than what it should be. They're saying things that they're not supposed to. They're doing things that they're not supposed to. We're 3 weeks into the school year. I had a kid, we have sand in the classroom, and he was playing with it as it was drugs, chopping.
Mr. Fuentes.
Can you hold on 1 second, please?
Mr. Fuentes, we have a board role where employees have issues with respect to the conditions of their employment or to deal with that with their supervisor?
Oh, no, it's no issues or anything like that. I'm just explaining like some obstacles that we are dealing with and everything. Like though, it's just hard to like kind of like explain, and I wasn't sure like about coming up here and everything and talking about it. And it's like I understand everyone is working hard and all of us are doing our best, you know, to work with kids individually and everything. And like I work with the Weed and Seed program outside of school voluntarily. And we basically, like, I work with the state police, and we bring in inner city kids, and we do boxing, martial arts with them and everything. And one of the guys that I do the program with is a state cop, and I asked him, and I called him, and told him, hey, I'm having trouble with this classroom. Like, you know, I think they just need, like, a reality check, and these are kids that, you know, 9 or 10 years old. And I had him, I'm gonna have him come in the first week of October, come in and talk to the kids about like what are some laws, like, you know, at the age of 10, you know, you can be charged and things like that. I actually like been in Erie since I was born in Los Angeles, but I came to Erie and I started at Irving at the original Roosevelt and everything. I had a hard time in school and everything in the beginning. Everything, this program really helped me. I'm glad, like I wish that there was just more programs outside of school as well, because I was at the Bethesda Center and we basically had like a after school boxing program and everything, but it got shut down, and then after that we just ended up doing it ourselves, where I was like, okay, I'm gonna take it upon myself to give back to the community just like the community gave to me and give my time and help out. But I just wish we had more things to do that with the kids like that. And afterwards, if I could just talk to you guys about something personal. I just want you guys to listen to it, but yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Saberski will meet with you after the meeting. Anybody else would like to speak for 3 minutes? If not, we'll move on. Reports of the committees and liaisons. Does anybody have anything? Okay, we'll move on. No, there's no unfinished business. Moving on to new business.
I move we adopt the new business item 6 and all that's contained with it, and that's all there is. Item 6.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Harkins, second by Mr. Spiegel. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Spiegel?
Yes.
Mr. Brzezinski?
Oh, you skipped me. Yeah.
Mr. Cassillo?
Yes.
Mr. Fabrizi?
Yes.
Mr. Harkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McNair? Mr. Petrunger?
Yes. Approval of the minutes from July 11th, 17th, 24th, 2017, and August 9th,
So moved.
2017. So moved by Mr. Cassillo. Second. Second by Mr. Spiegel. Any discussion? All those in favor say yea.
Aye.
All opposed? How did I throw you a little? Bills and payroll.
Move that we pay them as presented.
Motion by Mr. Harkins, second by Mr. Spiegel. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Spiegel?
Yes.
Mr. Brzezinski?
I got this. Yes.
Mr. Cassillo?
Yes.
Mr. Fabrizi?
Yes.
Mr. Harkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McNair?
Yes.
Mr. Petrunger?
Yes. Report of the secretary.
Move we accept it.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Harkins, seconded by Mr. Spiegel. Roll call, please.
Mr. Spiegel?
Yes.
Mr. Brzezinski?
Yes.
Mr. Cassillo?
Yes.
Mr. Fabrizi?
Yes.
Mr. Harkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McNair? Mr. Petrunger?
Yes. There are no award on bids. We move to any other matter.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
That Mr. Samick raised a question that I think maybe an answer would help all of us. But when a transit authority bus becomes a school bus, how is that, could someone speak to that? For example, do any of the city buses carry school students together?
They dropped that sign.
Yeah, but I had a call from a citizen who said that they were approaching a bus, a Metro Transit Authority bus, and it was dispensing school kids, and the kids were in the street, and the sign was not out. The stop signs weren't out until after they drove past it, and they weren't trying to get the bus driver in trouble. But I just wondered if there were other regular non-students on the bus, and maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know.
So that we do not provide standard yellow bus service to our students. We provide them with bus passes, and EMTA, and they're one of the few in the state that do this, actually develop tripper runs around our needs that are designed specifically for our students, but that doesn't mean that anybody can't get on those runs at any time. A few years back for the elementary runs, I believe that the prior administration did request, and the EMTA granted, that they would put the blinking lights on and the stop sign for all our elementary runs. But at this point, I don't believe they're doing that for middle and high school, and I can get some more information on that and provide it to the board.
That answers my question, but that Mr. Samick had it too. I thought it was a good question, but these were at least middle school students, so maybe that's the answer.
Thank you.
Mr. President?
Mr. Cassillo.
Thank you. I just want to offer my personal congratulations to the staff, the administration, and to you, Mr. Polito, for the amount of work that has been completed in such a short period of time, and also completed in a very orderly fashion to minimize the confusion and the consolidation of the schools, as well as preparing the schools to begin this year. And it took, I'm sure, a Herculean effort on behalf of the administration as well as everyone that had a hand in it to be able to pull that off. And I just want to say congratulations to you and the administration and the staff who really put this whole thing together. Thank you.
Ms. McNair.
I would just like to follow up and say congratulations to Mr. Polito and all the staff. I know before all of this occurred, I was one of the main people who had a lot of questions and had a lot of demands on, you know, making sure that everything went the way that it needed to go when the consolidation happened. I had some very specific demands. I even had meetings with explanations, and I just want to say that you met my expectations. You answered all of my questions that I've had before everything happened, and I'm very pleased that the way things have been going. I was up at Erie High last week, and even the procedure to get into the school, you know, they are really tight with everything. Security, I know some people question security. I haven't had any complaints about, you know, anything that's going on up there, and I even went up there during the school day firsthand and saw how they even deal with people who buzz in at the door. So everything is very secure. Students were moving through the hallways, you know, very smoothly. There was blue coats in the parking lot across the street, you know, to make sure, this was even before school was out, just to control traffic, you know, when it was getting towards the end of the school day. The secretarial staff was really professional. With parents coming to the door or visitors coming to the door, everything was really tight. It didn't feel, you know, overly bearing with security issues, but it just felt like, you know, a comfortable situation. So, you know, I just want to say again, you know, thank you for the staff that put forth such a great effort in, you know, with having kids in the district. You know, everything has been going really good this year at the schools that they attend, and so far at schools that they don't attend that I've been to. So just once again, congrats to the staff, to the kids who met our expectations, who did a great job transitioning and coming together. They deserve a hand for that too, the kids, you know, for making that transition very smoothly. So, you know, I just hope that the rest of the school year continues to go as well as it started off.
Thank you. Yes.
Could you or Mr. Polito speak about the Academy reunion this weekend at the 100-year? You know
about it?
I do know about it.
Okay, I think it should be something other people should be reminded of. Sounds like it's going to be a pretty nice event.
Right, this weekend, the Academy is having their 100-year celebration. I believe there's, do you know the times, B, on the events?
I didn't mean to cause any trouble here.
I think
Yeah,
it's 11 a.m.
Okay, 7 p.m. and then... I heard on the way into this meeting that they have over 400 people signed up for the evening event, so it should be a good time. I understand that it is sold out at this point, so if you didn't get a ticket, it's too late.
Yeah, they get there. My mother-in-law graduated from there long ago, and I can still remember stories about Frank Liebel, who was one of the greatest football players from this area, played for the Giants, but that was years ago. Actually, I sent her yearbook up to Academy. Hopefully some of the folks that come around there can take a look at it and see the pictures and the people. Very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President.
Go right ahead.
I just want to speak about the consolidation and what's been going on. And I just don't want to paint the picture that we think that everything is completely going completely smoothly and that there hasn't been any kind of any problems at all. I know that there's people out there that are probably watching and saying some things about the traffic situation, about the overcrowding in the hallways. But what I do want to say is that everything that I've heard on those issues and taken to the administration, they're working on every one of those issues. I mean, they talk about like the overcrowding and that there's this many kids in that school. Well, one of the problems is that all the kids that go to this school, this is their first year, they all know how to get to their classes from that main hallway, so they all end up in that main hallway rather than knowing the other ways around. So these things will work themselves out, and so I just wanted to make sure that the public doesn't think that we're all sitting here congratulating each other, thinking that it's all rosy, when it's a continuing effort, and I know that everybody's very, very much involved in trying to make it continue to be successful. On a real bright note, I've gone to a couple of the football games, and it's really good to see our team with the amount of support from the community in the stands, to see the cheerleaders, how many cheerleaders we have out, how many kids we have on the field. All of that is a great thing to see. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Got a motion to adjourn by Mr. Brzezinski, second by Mr. Spiegel. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.
Thanks for helping me out, too.
I didn't notice the clock was down either.
Vanessa's acting up. When I